What would you do if you find out a person that you thought was out of your league has a crush on you? Duck it up somehow. Same here, I know I'd duck it right up. Please elaborate. Thinking someone is too good for you will always give you this back of your mind thought that you have to do something to be worthy of them, and you overthink it, never really accepting or even acknowledge that they like you as you are. Most likely by the time I realized it, I've already stopped doing the things she likes about me, because what she sees as cute/attractive quirks I see as my weakness. Then she stops liking me cause I ducked up. I would question my judgment and their judgment. I don't want to belong to any club that would have me as one of its members. Every healthy relationship I've ever seen was just two people who felt like the other one was completely out of their league, and always consider themselves lucky every day that the other person wants to be with them. Nobody dates someone they think they're too good for. So it's much more important to really just take the time and get to know that person. Find what interests you share, what hobbies you can do together, and what it is about their personality that complements your own. I think if it happened to me, all I'd want is to just find out who they are as a person, find out what they want in life, and let it go from there without trying to psych myself out so much that I don't enjoy just being with them. Yup. I married up in a major way. She has helped me grow into being a man who actually may deserve her. 15 years, 2 kids, still feeling lucky she gave me a shot. Paranoia would convince me that she's just pretending to be interested to exploit me somehow. As someone who's been in a relationship with a girl way out of my league for 3 months, I still have this feeling. Half of me thinks she genuinely loves me, and the other half of me thinks she's either trying to gain something from me, or she's too nice to tell me she doesn't love me at all. Happened to me. Found her staring at me multiple times. She sent me all the signals. It was probably the first time in my life that I really detected these signals. When the reality of it hit me, I took a deep breath, actually multiple deep breaths, and decided to go for it. I called her and asked her out on a date. We were together for a year. I miss her, sad face. If I find out another such girl has a crush on me and I like her too, I'm going to ask her out. I thought that my crush was sending me signals too, but she was just being nice. She's also lesbian. It would boost my self-confidence by 150% and I'd try to make the relationship work. I'd most likely find a way to screw it up, but I think it would be a win-win whatever the outcome. Me trying to figure out how much is 150% of 0. Ask you sure? I've literally had a text conversation that went something like, her, let's go out. Me, you and I. Her, yeah. Me, why me? And no, I didn't end up going out with her. I'll just use being 17 and dumb as my excuse. I'd wonder why they have such low standards. I'd be far too shy to talk to them still though. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself by saying they'd have the low standards for liking you. I'm sure you're much better than you give yourself credit for. I would be super happy and probably get a boner. I'm not sure what would I do though. Get her to help? It happened to me, 3 times, 3 times I messed up. What happened and how did you mess up? The first time, she was me friend, so when I knew it, I feel afraid of lose her friendship, then I start to keep distance, at the end we wasn't even friends, and time later, I saw her in a party, we both was drunk, and she come to me and say I was the love of your life, but you are so stupid. She was my friend, so when I discovered her feelings for me, I was afraid to lose our friendship. In turn, I kept my distance and we soon drifted apart. Sometime later, I saw her at a party. While intoxicated, she told me that I was the love of her life, but I was too stupid to recognize it. Marry her. Guy that married a girl way out of his league that had a crush on him. I've read enough manga to prepare me on this scenario. There's something wrong in the Matrix. I'd do absolutely nothing. I've got 28 years of experience in doing nothing and then regretting it. Miss every hint possible, ask if she wanted to eat dinner, She says she's about to go into surgery with a pic of her in the hospital in a gown. I promptly block her because I thought, well, if she doesn't want free food and goes through all of that trouble, she definitely isn't interested. This pains me to this day. I actually had this happen in my sophomore year of high school. I consider myself exceedingly average, and this girl was strikingly gorgeous. Well, one day in science class we got put together on a group project and we seemed to get along pretty well, so after a few days of talking a little more in class, I didn't have her number. I asked her out as a spur of the moment thing. Guess what she immediately said? Nope, and pretty much ran away. It wasn't until several weeks later where she came up to me at the end of the school day and nervously, while blushing madly, handed me a slip of paper with her number on it. Apparently she was actually really into me, but was too nervous to say yes when I asked her out. She and I went out for 4 or 5 months. Eventually she broke up with me because even after all that time I was too nervous to make a serious move. We had kissed like once, and it was a small one. So yeah, my answer is the same as everybody else's on here. I ducted up XD. I'm currently dating someone who I firmly believe is out of my league in the looks department, mostly because I'm overweight. Unsurprisingly, I overthought this to the point that I had a rather embarrassing outburst. I explained that I've been hurt so many times, I've dated men who were ashamed of me, called me ugly after sleeping with me, who wanted to keep me a secret. And it makes me feel really insecure in new relationships. He just stared at me, blinking, and after about 30 seconds said, but if they're not attracted to you, then why did they want to sleep with you? Anyways, society conditions us in really weird ways and we don't often think critically about the impact this has on our everyday lives. He wants to sleep with me, I want to sleep with him. Now he knows I'll need occasional reassurance to help get over some of my baggage. Hopefully things continue to progress, because I think he's really good for me. Plus, he's ducking hot. The end of our conversation went something like this. Him, how do you feel about yourself? Me, I think I'm pretty great, but... Him, there you go. You're great. Don't listen to society. Do whatever floats your boat. If you wanna duck that hottie, you dust off your best BAMF outfit and strut your stuff. Straight into their pants. Apparently I'd kiss them. This is the story of my current girlfriend and I. She was my co-worker for a bit before anything else, and before I got the chance to properly meet her for myself, I thought she was cute and a lesbian due to another co-worker having mentioned it. Cool, I'll have another friend to smoke with whenever we're not working. I expected nothing of it, but then we started hanging out outside of work. We spent around 3 evenings together. Driving around, smoking, watching TV and just other friendly shit. At the time I was thoroughly convinced that this girl had no interest in any potential advances, so I chalked up the massive romantic tension building between the two of us to just be the byproduct of my teenage boy brain, and boy was I wrong. At the end of the night, about 3:30 in the morning, I had just finished taking off a skirt she wanted me to try on, so I was in my boxers and a t-shirt getting ready to leave when I noticed she was staring at me. Great, right? Well, not really. I was so stoned and emotionally confused I forced myself to ignore the gentle call of her lips because I didn't want to risk creeping her out or ducking things up, but she caught me staring back at her and asked in the quietest, sweetest, and cutest voice I've ever heard. Wait, what are you doing? Where are you going? Those 2 questions were enough to push me into action, as at that point I was either having auditory hallucinations, or she was as excited as I was, so I finally kissed her and it went better than either of us could have imagined. Everything was electric and it felt like we were just meant for each other, or at least that's how I felt. I guess I can't really speak for her at that point, but we made out for a bit and I eventually forced myself to go home. A victory? Right? It had to have been. Not just yet though. The reality of our situation was going to be more trying. The truth I neglected to mention to this amazing woman was that I was on vacation from uni. I was single as all duck, so that wasn't an issue, but I didn't even officially live in the same place she did. I told her the next day. We decided it'd be best to see where the last bit of my vacation took us and handle it from there, so we kept hanging out for the last 3 weeks of my break. Eventually it came to the eve of my departure and we were sealed up in her room lying on her bed talking about how shitty it was going to be being so far away, and one of us, most likely me, started crying, and after a bit of comforting it was decided that we'd try to do something over a long distance. We had a good cry together after that, as there was a massive weight lifted off our shoulders as we both knew we'd have a chance to be able to keep up with one another. The rest of it is all history. It's only been 11 months but things are still going great. We're not living together just yet, but we are living in the same state again, and after about 6 months of long distance I don't think I'll ever want to go back.